But then you cried in a Land Rover.
Range Rover.
In a Range Rover.
Yes, I did. And I tell people, you can, when people say they'd rather cry in a Range Rover, I tell them it's because you haven't cried in one. It's wishful thinking. Talk to us. We've cried in Range Rovers. Yes. And
how does it feel?
Well, the ground clearance is good. The car feels good. I feel like,
Where did you get this guy? This this is the last part of our interview. The second last part of our interview. You again meet a boyfriend that is very abusive again.
Yeah.
Do you know? There is something that doesn't sit down well with me.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know whether I read it in a book. That if you have been abused before, you are likely to get abused again.
Yes.
You agree with that statement?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm talking through experience. And because, let me tell you, there's a point in my life where I even enrolled for psychology school, just for the fun. I wanted to understand how the human mind works. And I actually do know how the human mind works in many ways. Yeah.
Where did you meet this Range Rover guy?
I just met him. There you meet people. I met this guy. And the thing about people I've dated in the past, I would not say they were all bad. I would be lying. Why did I stay? See, there are reasons you leave, but there are also reasons you stay. So this guy wasn't exactly bad. He did not come out as bad. Would I say the person is bad? I don't know. But what I can say, because every human being has a good and a bad side. So I would not say this person was bad, this person was mean, this person was all of those things. I can just say that this person had a very good side, like that very, very good side. So much that you feel like there's an energy this person. See, the thing about children, we are all children. It's just that we are growing older, but there's a child inside everybody. So there's a way that you enjoy attention, you enjoy some sort of care that comes from someone. Remember something I'd never had. This is something I never had. So when
from your father specifically?
Yes, I didn't. So when this person came, they came in they came in that category of what we call tall. Well, he wasn't as dark. He was kind of, but he came in the tall, handsome package, good looking, very, very, very attractive, very, and the person came with material things as well. So, icing on the cake. So the person came very, very, very ready to listen, ready to entertain you. It's just an interview. Don't you think dates are interviews? Dates are interviews.
Sort of.
Yes, they are interviews. Because it's when you're courting someone that you get to know their fears, you know their strengths. Then over time, you also know their weaknesses. Because they won't come and tell you, hey, my weakness is when I'm angry, I punch people. No, they don't. You are highly likely to know people's weaknesses by observing. Their strengths you'll observe, but they'll also show a lot of their strengths. But now their weaknesses are things that
they'll put their best foot forward.
Yes, it's an interview, I told you. But now when over time, you now see the real deal. And by the time you're seeing the real deal, emotions are involved.
A lot of things
have
happened.
So now you're wearing rose-colored lenses, delulu. No, you're just delusional. So this person had a good side, but they also had a side that wasn't that good. So there are certain instances, there are certain things that happened in this relationship that I couldn't even talk about at the time.
And he was, you're saying that he was a well-to-do guy.
Yes.
He was loving, but then he had serious temper issues.
That I did not realize until after now the dust, like when that face, that
honeymoon.
Yes, there's that period where you meet someone and because you do not know, there's a lot of mystery around them, and it's human nature to like mystery. So you haven't known them well. Haven't you met women in your life where you just see them and you don't know them? You just have this, you want to know them more, and so the relationship is adrenaline run at the time. So now when the adrenaline is, isn't as high.
When things stabilizes.
When things stabilize, you start realizing this isn't normal. And you see, for the longest time, I'd experienced this person, some showing some temper around other people, just that I didn't know my day was going to come.
And your day surely came.
It did in Mombasa.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
What happened?
So we were in Mombasa, and it was at around probably 8 p.m. And I saw friends. I saw people that there was this group of artists that I actually know. I don't want to say their names, but there's a group of artists that are very popular. There are three. I knew them. So when they were actually performing there, we didn't know they were going to be there. But so when we got there, it was a day before my birthday. So when we got there, they actually were there and was so happy. And we sang, we danced, and I hugged these people and I actually introduced them to this person and introduced this person to them. So the guy was angry. After they walked away, they sang happy birthday and I danced. He was very angry. How dare you hug a male person? So this group has 2 women and 1 guy. So he was so angry. How dare you? How did you do this? And for me, naturally, I usually don't react. I usually either choose silence or reaction. And reaction, when I choose reaction, I usually choose to burn the bridge. Like, I am less likely to have arguments with you unless I decide this is the day. I burn the bridge, bring the kerosene and the matchbox, it's done. But usually when I think that I want continuity, I walk away. Either I keep quiet or I walk away. So I left him there. I decided, well, I can run a hot bath and relax. So after a few minutes, this guy walks in. And I was like, wow, okay. So he comes in and I'm seated in the tub. And he continues. You see the drama at yes.
Yeah.
The drama continues. So he comes and he's like, how dare you do this? This isn't right. This is wrong. This is all of that. I got angry. So I have a towel around my body. And the minute I was walking past him, this guy slapped me. He didn't even punch me. He slapped me. And I'm talking about a person who's built. Like, this is a person who's quite big. This is a person who has military training. This is a person who has trained even in Israel. So this is a strong person. So this guy slapped me, and the next thing I knew, I was on the ground. And of course, I did scream. So people came because I attracted a lot of attention just by screaming. People came, but by then he was...
You were in a hotel?
Yes. By this time, this guy was telling me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. So by the time people came and the security came, he had a way that he hushed them away. Madam ako sawa, she's okay, don't worry. And they saw me. And you know what? I wish I had actually said, I am not okay. But I don't know why I was trying to protect this person, but I did. And they left. The next morning, my eye was swollen and I had a black eye. I sent you the picture, right? Yeah, I had a black eye. And the next day, the person had a way of convincing me, like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. But that was it. That was the end of that situation. Came back to Nairobi. I was angry. I was quiet. I did not tell a soul. I did not tell anybody. I kept quiet. Because this was the first time. It was a mistake. He apologized, did he? He did. But that was not the last event. It wasn't the last.
You told me the last one that almost killed you. Which one was this?
There was the second event.
Mm.
So the second event was there's a time we had an argument. It's not something I want to talk about, but something really terrible happened. I was so angry. And again, that night, I was going to see off a cousin who was leaving the country. So what had happened is that I came to the realization that something had happened. And I was so angry that I told him, you did this and I don't like it. This is very wrong. And I was so livid. And I think because I was going to meet my aunt, my uncle, and their child, he thought that I was going to tell them. Because this is a guy who had actually met a lot of people in my family. So he knew people in my family. So I rushed downstairs. I got into my car. And then I drove. I went to the airport. He was following me behind. So this guy was driving right behind me. And I even drove into the police station at the airport to hide. But then I don't know, he saw the car. So then he came and I also went and I parked at the arrivals, the international arrivals. Parked the car. And I went and I sat with my aunt. And my aunt asked me, are you okay? Why am I seeing your boyfriend's car at the parking and he's not coming? And I told her, we'll talk about it. But I didn't want to tell her because whatever had happened was so shameful. I couldn't tell her. So that was the event. And I went, I remember that night, I drove.
Is he the one who did this shameful thing, or is the one you're the one who did it?
He's the one. I don't want to talk about it because I do not want. It's complicated. I do not want to. I don't want to talk about the people who are involved in this.
Okay.
But it was really terrible. So after this thing happened, I was so angry. So I went to the airport. I was so mad. I got to a point I was dangerously driving. And believe you me, I am a very fast driver and I can drive very dangerously.
Yeah, so you celebrating how much time you took to Kisumu.
Yes, I was really trying to get away from him. But at some point, he got to me. This is a person who has training around defensive driving. So he got to me. And I was so angry. And I think I was so annoyed that I feel like I was losing my mind or something. I even left the car by the roadside. I walked from Gateway Mall to, I think, somewhere in Lolongo because I was so angry. My shoes ilitokana, but I just kept walking. I don't even know where I was going to. And yeah, that was the event. So after that situation, we were not talking for the longest time. I asked him to stay away from me. I didn't want to talk to him. And then there's a point where he traveled. He went to the village and he calls me and he tells me, can we hang out? Can we talk? I don't know why I was ready to talk. But I've always been a person who I don't just want to close doors. I want to have closure. So he calls me and I went to meet him. When I went to meet him, a friend of his from the village, his village mate, she came and said hi to me. And she realized I was not happy, I was not okay, I was not my usual self. So she asked me what was going on. And I told her I'm okay. But she noticed something was off. So when the guy came, they had a conversation. I don't know what they said to each other, but this guy had a feeling that I was talking about him behind his back. So he was so angry and he started kunisomea. And it's something I don't like. As a child, nimesomewa sana. You don't do that to me right now. So he went on and on and on. And I got angry. I didn't have a car. I went in a cab. So when I went outside.
This is the first time that you're meeting after a long time.
Not a long time. It had been quite some time. So we met and then. No, so after the thing where he was, and he's doing this in a public space. So I felt like, no, you do not do this to me. So I went outside. Then he came and he says, let me just drop you home. So I get into the car and it's going on, like he keeps going on. And I told him, I will alight. I can't stand this. I will alight. And he just unlocks the door. I was crying. So I'm telling you, I've cried in a Range Rover. Have you cried in a Range Rover?
Men don't have Range Rovers to cry in, man. So women that cry in Range Rovers.
But you own the Range Rovers most of the time.
Yes.
So aren't you ever in a situation where you cry in your Range Rover?
Yeah, but I believe crying in somebody else's Range Rover is different. Because you are not going there to cry. You're going there to chop. when you're crying in a Range Rover, you're crying about so many things.
Yeah, so
You know?
I was crying at Galana Road. I was crying at Galana Road, and I was so angry that this person is coming, said they want to make amends, but they just want to quarrel me in this Range Rover. So I was so angry, and when he unlocked the door, I came down from the Range Rover and I took Anduthi all the way from Galana Road to Imaradaima.
You took Anduthi.
And let me tell you,
You had no money for cab.
No, it wasn't. Remember, it's late in the night.
Yeah.
And do you have, when you're like in this situation where you feel like you're in danger, do you have time to order the
Nothing.
Uber?
You just jump on the next thing.
Yes, call the driver and tell them, niko hapa kwa junction Galana Road. You're not going to do that. So I jumped on the Nduthi that was passing by. Yes, mama, I took the Nduthi.
And he was unlocking the car so that you fuck off.
Yes. And you know the sad thing is you can't cry on Anduthi. Like, you see the way unapigwa na upepo.
Oh,
you can't cry on Anduthi.
That's a good one.
Can't
You can
cry.
cry on unless you have a helmet.
You can't cry on Anduthi. So this Nduthi guy realized like something was not okay, because I mean, how many times do people take Anduthi from Galana Road to Imaradaima?
That's Galana Road in Westlands.
No, Galana Road, the one around Kilimani, near Kilimani Primary.
Galana Road. Oh, yes.
Yeah, where B Club used to be, around there. So I take the Nduthi, and then Nduthi guy is like 700, and they said, let's just go. So we take Nduthi, and a female friend of his was driving by, and she asked, Wendy, what's up? And I just didn't care. I took the Nduthi and left. Do you know what happened? The guy was following me.
Following the Nduthi?
Yes. And I told the Nduthi guy, let's twende. Peter uende, twende. So, and I think the Nduthi was also afraid, because, you know, you've seen a Range Rover. So you also don't want to be in trouble.
The guy saw you alighting, the Nduthi guy. He saw you alighting.
No, he was just passing by. Then he realized the car was driving very close, and I told him, listen, tunaepa hii gari. Let's go.
What?
Yes. And it's so interesting that
you're putting the life of the Nduthi guy in danger.
No, I am just asking for a service. Only that I want fast service. I want to get home.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got home, and when I got home, I thought this guy will probably look for me at home. He's on the way. He's definitely on the way. So I tell this Nduthi guy to drop me at the shopping center around home. I don't even know where I was going. But I just kept meandering around the shopping center. And then at some point, he started calling me. Then he started sending me texts. He told me he went to a man's house. You've gone to another man's house. And now you see, I wanted to prove that, no, I've not gone to another man's house. So I went home.
What?
Imagine, I went home. When I went home, this guy walked in. Remember, we had gone out drinking as well, yeah? So when he got home, he was so angry. He was like, you're talking about me with people, you're doing whatnot. And the next thing I knew, this guy slapped me. He slapped me and I was on the ground. And then now he strangled me. So now him strangling me, I actually pooped my pants because he strangled me. Like, it was, you know, remember the near-death situation? This was now the next near-death situation. And the guy strangled me, vibaya, and he beat my head. I honestly don't know how. Now we can just laugh about it, but how does anyone bite your head? I sent you a photo.
I don't understand.
Yes, this guy beat my forehead.
These are people with serious anger issues. And his life, what was his life like? What is he doing? I mean, he's working. Why can't he look? If kama msichana mwingine amekuchokesha, si utafuti ingine.
Lakini unajua nani hutaka kuachika? Wanasema ukiachwa achika, nani anataka kuachwa pia? You know, it's a human, everyone has this human desire for connection. So I understand hakutaka kuachika, but do you think now I wanted to stay with someone who's doing these things to me? Or who has done this thing to me? Honestly, I ran out of options about what to say. I told people, megonga kichoka kabati. I told people, sijui, I fell down. And I remember one particular person in my family, because my mom had dated someone after my dad that wasn't that nice. And I remember someone in my family telling me, Wendy, ikugonga kwa kabati, hata mama yako ashaifinywa na mlango. So do not allow anyone do this to me. I think she said it in a way to kind of tell me that yes, it does happen, but don't allow it to happen to you. So when that happened, it was difficult because you see, he hit me so hard that I actually did get a black eye from it, and I was bleeding from my forehead. And he actually...
How does a man actually bite another woman on the forehead? There's a lot of anger.
Yes, that's a lot of anger. So this person is strangling you. I'm telling you at this point, I've pooped my pants. But he's still strangling me, and he asked me, will you listen to me now? And I had to.
Say yes.
I couldn't even talk. I just signaled, and then he left me. And then he sat on the seat, and then he blacked out. Alcohol, he blacked out.
Hukuleta maji moto.
See, the thing about me, I always think about the repercussions. I've told you, I don't just burn bridges. I just don't do things because I know the repercussions. So I didn't get Majimoto, but I was so angry. I took a picture. I sent you, right? I took a picture. I sent it to a friend who had also told me, but I told you to leave that guy. So I felt like unisaidi. I went downstairs, got into the car, and went to a hospital around my neighborhood. So when I went there, I remember the doctor telling me, hujagongwa na kabati. Imekugonga tu sahi usiku. Sahi tu usiku ndo imekugonga. And she offered me help. She was ready to help me, like, get the necessary paperwork. But the guy, I don't know how he knew, but he knew that I was at the hospital. So when he came, this is a guy who had blacked out.
And you left him in the house?
Yes. But somehow he was able to get to the hospital. He knew I was at the hospital. I don't know how. He came to the hospital. So when I saw the lights, Ojo lights, the Range Rover was you can see. I saw the lights. I hid. But the car was, he saw the car, so he knew I was there. And I had to leave, and I was given painkillers. And the lady told me, you can still come back tomorrow. I'll still help you, but I didn't go back. But I had her
Did he follow you back home?
Yes. He followed me back home. But then at some point, he just left. Let me tell you, the next morning I woke up, my head was still swollen, my eye was swollen. And right then, I knew that this one, it's over. It's over. And for me to leave that relationship, I remember there's a time I told him, I'm so done with you. I do not want to see you again. Leave the house. You know what the guy did? He told me, you and I today, one of us is going. Like, this relationship is not ending. I even have a message, I think. I remember telling my aunt, I remember asking for my aunt's help because I texted my aunt, and at this point I'm texting, I actually even have photos. I remember sending my aunt a text and telling her, please send me help. Please call the cops for me because this guy is going to kill me. He's going to kill me today. It's on the other phone. I texted my aunt and I texted my cousin and told them, please get the cops to help.
Did they do?
Going to kill me. They called me. This guy denied. Meanwhile, he was seated on a seat outside the bathroom because I'd locked myself in the bathroom. So he was sitting on a seat outside the bathroom. He denied, but he was seated at the bathroom, and I had locked from inside, but he was sitting at the door. Why was he sitting? I asked him to leave. Why was he still sitting there? And by then he had really scratched my face. He had really already hit me. So it was war till morning. I had to come out of there. He called my aunt. He spoke really terrible around me. It was bad. But that was the last time he hit me. That was the last time. I was done. I did not care. I did not care about what was going to happen afterwards. I did not care for the relationship. And of course, people will have a story to tell. But I did not care about that anymore. So that's how the relationship ended. Has anyone hit me again? No. And for me, at this point in my life, I tell people I care for values than anything else. You don't have values. You told me that you're in a relationship right now. Did you talk to these guys about this, that people have done these things? Well, I did it in this. You remember me telling you there's a guy I told, and he was like, we can go and get justice for you. See this guy, the justice he was offering. So I didn't think it wise to talk about it. Then there was a relationship after that. I spoke about it. Then there was a relationship afterwards where I said it juju. I didn't tell everything. But really, nobody has done it again.
Do you think that women should be careful of where they are at night or with people?
How careful? How are you supposed to be careful? I'm telling you in all of this, do you realize that no stranger I'm not talking about strangers. Do you realize that I'm talking about people I knew or people I was? So are you supposed to be careful around your boyfriend? Are you supposed to be careful around, say, you're a husband if you're married? I am not married. But are you supposed to be careful around your husband? And for how long are you? Because they don't hit you day one. So how long are you supposed to be careful?
What is the way forward around this? To other women, to other men? What do you
asked me?
Yeah.
Is that I think there's a problem in the collective. It's not a men's problem peke yake. It's not, and for me, I'm not thinking that men are necessarily the perpetrators or women, because I've heard of men who have experienced violence from women. Do men talk about it?
No.
See, it happens. It does. It happens. And again, abuse is not just physical, it's emotional, it's financial, all of those things. I think there's a problem in the collective. And if we're not going to deal with the problem from down there, it will just be like another... Because, I mean, Jagero, how are we talking about murder? How are we talking about femicide? And then days after it, something else happens. And this time now, it was really even worse. And people are creating memes. How do you even find it funny? You see, the fact that you're even finding it funny already means you are not the perpetrator, but there's something wrong. Because if you can laugh about it, if you can actually even create memes about it, there's a problem.
It's terrible. Thank you very much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
You know, there is a brother-in-law that I really hated. He used to beat my sister a lot. You know, his life was terrible himself. He had a very bad house. His door couldn't even close properly. But he thought that he had it all. And the people below him had nothing. So I just think that as for us men, sometimes we just need to stop the excuses. Because I saw my father beat my mother, and I said I will not lay a hand on a woman. And I have not done it. So I think people should just gather a little bit of strength and say that, well, why am I beating this woman? Is this woman the source of my problems? I don't think she is.
But do you want to face your problems? That's a question. Do you want... Because most of the times we don't want to own up. We do not want to take responsibility. We want to blame others. So even as a man, are you ready to accept that you have a problem? Not you per se.
Yes.
Are men ready to accept that, one, there is a problem? Because people are blaming women. Why aren't men also taking up the mantle and saying, hey, we are also the problem? Because right now people are telling women to be careful. How are we supposed to be careful? Our mothers visited our fathers when they were dating. Were they careful? But these things are almost unheard of. Because if someone can decide to kill someone and dismantle their body like a chicken, is that normal?
That's not normal. This is witch killing after the Airbnb in South
After
B.
the Airbnb, there was a Roy Sambo case where the man even carried the woman's head. How do you do that? Like, when you're doing this, what are you thinking about? What's in your head when you're doing this? Are you thinking about... Because you even dismantle. What are you thinking about when all this is happening? Are you thinking about even the consequences? Are you thinking about this girl's family? Are you thinking about you being caught? Like, have we gotten to a point where we're not even afraid? Because people mostly do the right thing because they don't want to be caught. We are not even afraid of being caught. So we need to also teach our children, like for people who have children, people need to teach their children that no is also a response, and it's okay. It's okay to be told no. And when you're told no, it's not necessarily about you, but you should respect people's decisions. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think this is the longest interview I've done.
Really?
Yeah. Just 1 hour, 40 minutes, yeah? 1 hour. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I get a lot of women who tell me their stories like you told me on phone, but that's where they stop. A lot.
Why?
They can't appear on video.
Exactly, shame. Because you think that because these things happen to you, the way the community is talking about it, you think now you are to blame. So do you want people to see you? Do you want people to know? But then why should I walk around shame that I did not create? No.
You've decided that you are talking about this and you're getting it off your chest, you're getting it off your system, you're facing your demons, and that's
Well,
all.
you see, the thing is, have you heard people say that when you're stupid, the other people are the ones who suffer? Well, it's off my chest, so the rest of you can bear. Like, you can bear the burden. You can feel ashamed to be my relative. You can be ashamed to be my associate. But hey, I'm not walking with the shame anymore. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you well. Do you want to get married?
Yes.
Have children?
Yes. Just not to a violent person. Like, for me, violence is like a deal breaker. It doesn't matter if we got married yesterday. You lay your hands on me, I'm out.
Or your children?
Yes, or my children, I'm out, day one.
I agree with you.
Yes.
So people of the internet, thank you very much. This was Wendy telling me her experiences with abuse. You know? I have never been physically abused, and I can only imagine.
But again, Jagero, I also want to say that I've not just had bad experiences, because people also think that experiences have, they have not all been bad experiences. I've met
especially the Range Rover things. You're
met,
doing really well
I've met very amazing men, even just friends. I have very amazing friends who are men. I have dated really amazing people, and the person I have been seeing for a while now, I would say is like the most gentle person, and that's what stands out. The person is so gentle, and I'm like, hey, kumbe, I've just been meeting crooks sometimes, but I've also met very, very amazing people.
Amen. Please share, please comment, and if you want to appear on this podcast, the door is open. Come and share your story. Until another episode, bye for now.